the International Radio Festival here at Valletta in Malta, and Red FM absolutely tore it up on the air earlier. How did your show go?
I loved it, but you have to tell me because you were dancing with me and I think you were so lovely as well. I couldn't believe that somebody here, crossing so many oceans, I would meet somebody who can dance exactly on the same beats of Gujaratis and Indians with the same grace and with the same energy.
You know what was so great was I not only loved the energy of your show, but some of the music you were playing I've never heard before, and the beat to it and the melodies and stuff is so great.
Yeah. It was difficult for me to pick up music, choose for this show, curated for this particular show, because I was representing Sound of India. And India is a vast country. We are 1.22 billion people. And we have 29 states, 7 union territories. And each of them have their own language and their own music. Now, because 420 million people speak Hindi, so that ends up being almost half or more than half of our country. And that's how all of them watch Hindi cinema. And Hindi cinema has imbibed all this music from different states and used it in Hindi. So it is a single language, but it would have the flavor of the dialects of those parts, and it would also have the melodies of these parts imported and used as a central theme. And so what I did was that I stitched it through Bollywood music. We would rather like to call it Hindi cinema than Bollywood, and then made sure that most of the music that will have the great rhythm, that will have the beats of India, that can actually make you groove, that's the music that we brought here. That doesn't mean that we only have the music that you can dance on. There's many other kind of music. You have classical Indian music, you have Karnataki music, you have Ravindra music. It's endless.
What was so great though is that sometimes radio can just be an auditory thing, but today you made it come alive visually. There was so much that was going on in the studio. Tell us about some of the props that you brought with you.
Oh yeah, so I wanted to make sure that I'm able to share the festivals that we celebrate, and the little traditions that we have about our religion, about the faith that we have. There's so many Hindus and Muslims and Christians and Sikhs and Buddhists and Jains living together, and they all have their own celebrations, and India has music for all of them. So I thought that I would bring things from each of the religion and bring it here. So we had Dandiyas, which is from the west part of India. We have the largest dance festival, Navratri, which is a nine nights festival, and thousands of people dance unchoreographed on the same steps together. And then we use these sticks as dandiyas as part of it. So we got that. There's Diwali coming up. It is the festival of lights, and it basically takes you from darkness to light. That's the version of it, and it is the birthday of God Ram, and that's how you light the lamps. And so we brought the lamps here. We brought the colors for Holi that people celebrate back home. We also got the lungis. The South India should not be missed out at all just because we are doing Hindi cinema. So the southern part wears this very peculiar dress worn by men as lungis. These are wraparound skirts that they wear, and then they fold them up and then dance with it, and they have a huge swag about it, and I just love it. So then we got that as well. So these are the things that we did. We also wanted to make sure that, those simple little totkas, the beliefs that people have, that you don't want to get jinxed before doing something so fabulous, especially when you are celebrating 1.22 billion people. You don't want to go wrong. You are the only person. You have huge responsibilities on your shoulders. So we put those lemon and green chilies, you stitch them together, and then you tie them around it so that it's all auspicious.
When did you first fall in love with radio?
This was 16 years back. And I have to tell you that I was quite a snob. I was very young, and I used to do theatre, and I used to do movies, and I used to think that, radio, that's such a simple thing, because, in theatre or in movies, you have the costumes, the lights, the scripts, the co-actors, the rehearsals. You take it very seriously, and I used to think that radio is, just slapstick or buffoonery, or you mimic people, and that's what it is, because FM came to India much later in comparison to the rest of the world. We had the privatization of television happening before privatization of radio. So that happened very recently. So I was one of the first jocks of India. So that's why when I was I actually had gone with a friend of mine to participate in the first RJ hunt of India. We call them RJs in India, not DJs. So I went there because he wanted to buy a farm, and the guy did not have change, so we ended up buying 2 farms. And then he said, "Do you want to do it?" I was like, "I'm going to win it anyway." And he was like, "Really?" And he couldn't finish the first round, and I actually ended up winning it.
wow.
So my confidence was on cloud 9. So when I was chosen by the national programming head, and he said that we want you to be on board, I said, "I can't do it." I said, "I'm too serious for something like this. I'm very sincere. I do this, I do that. I don't think I can make people laugh." He said, "Do you think, honey, you can make people cry?"
Oh, wow.
I said, "I can try."
Yeah,
He said, "Then do that."
yeah.
So with all that confidence, I stepped into radio. And after I started doing the shows, I realized that I don't have the lights, I don't have the music, I don't have the rehearsals, I don't have the co-actors, I don't have the sets, and I still have to create the same magic that you create in movies or stage, because this is the theater of mind.
Yeah, sure.
And you have to create all of that just with your voice. How do you do it? And that's when it kind of just made me realize that, oh my God, I'm in a big challenge.
Yeah.
And then over a period of time, I started interacting with people, because India is a country where most of the people live in joint families. You don't have your own space, there's no personal space. So radio ends up being the personal space for people. They connect with you as individuals, and they know that you are only talking to them. So if you are able to build that connect with them, then they actually put faith in you. I've had callers that you pick up the phone call and you realize that there is somebody on the other line, but that person is not speaking. And you wait.
Yeah.
You really wait for 5 minutes, 7 minutes, and you tell them that I know that you're there.
Yeah.
I'm listening.
Yeah.
I will wait for you to talk. And people will come and share stories like they're being raped, and they do not have the strength to go to police. The people who have gone through depression, who wanted to commit suicide, and they said that we listen to you, and because you say that you love us, I feel that there's somebody who loves me. Now these kind of human connects are only possible with radio, because they can hide their identity, they can feel safe, and still have the conversation, the catharsis that they would want to have. This gives you a platform for expression. And when I started realizing that, I realized that, oh my God, I'm in a very responsible job.
Yeah.
Plus, I also realized that our audiences are huge in comparison to the rest of the world, because we have huge population. So 150,000 people, 1.5 million people listen to me every day. Now, these many minutes are invested in me for each minute that I speak on radio. It is not the money that they can earn again, it's the time that they can never earn back.
Yeah.
Now, what do I do with that time in that moment is going to make the difference.
Sure.
And so I really have to be very careful and cautious about what I'm going to say on radio next. And that started make me believe that I have this amazing power, and what am I going to do with it?
Yeah.
For the society, for the people who are listening to me, for the country that I'm part of, for the language that I'm speaking, because I do regional radio. And this is also something that I just felt so proud of when I came here, that International Radio Festival has chosen somebody who speaks in the regional language.
Yeah.
And this is the first time that I did an entire radio show in English.
Yeah. Oh, really?
I've never done it before.
Yeah, well done. Your English is amazing, by the way. What do you think the future of radio looks like?
I'm really looking forward to it. I heard the conference, I heard people speaking, and I heard a lot of people saying that there will be a time when machines will replace people and they'll be able to curate music, and maybe you will not be able to find a difference whether the machine has chosen the music or the person. But when you're speaking to people parallelly, and when you're getting their vibe, and then when you have to choose the music from the kind of conversation that they are doing, I think that's a man's job. I think the more virtual we're getting, the more human we are going to seek.
Sure.
And so I think radio is never going to die. It's always going to be there. You'll always be that person who is listening to somebody from one nook in one corner of the city, and you need that personal touch. And there will be a radio performer giving you that.
Yeah. Well done, and thank you for coming here, and keep doing what you do. You're incredible, really, really incredible. Thank you.
So delighted to be here. I can't tell you. This is for the first time I'm representing my country on a global level, and I just hope that I've done a decent job out of it.
Of course you have. Well done. Well done. You're amazing.
Thank you.